All right. Hi, everyone. First and foremost, thank you for being here to listen to us talk about our professional experience working with DreamCorps. And we're really excited to just get started here. So let's go. Our team is comprised of four amazing individuals who assist our client. We have Kayla as strategy and research planner, Mercedes as media content manager, and Caitlin as campaign schedule and book manager. Also, not to mention me, Jordan, as the client services coordinator. Although we each had different positions, we always helped out across the board with DreamCorps, any of their needs, and we kind of just dipped into a little bit of everything. Now that the team has been introduced, we'll go into the meat of our presentation. We'll be going over who our client is, their needs, which were analyzed through the client consultation and our own SWOT analysis. We'll also be talking about the goals we had for the semester and the tactics we chose for those goals, and of course, the outcomes and successes of each goal we had. And lastly, we'll discuss next steps and our recommendations for DreamCorps success. We briefly mentioned DreamCorps, and now it is time to officially introduce our client. Established in 2015, co-founders Van Jones, who is the most prominent name behind the organization, Jessica Jackson, and Matt Haney created hashtag Cut50 to ban the shackling of pregnant women in jails. Hashtag Cut50 has now evolved to DreamCorps Justice, and since then, DreamCorps has created numerous programs like DreamCorps Green for All, which focuses on building a green economy for all, and DreamCorps Tech, which focuses on building equity in the tech field. DreamCorps' mission is to close prison doors and open doors for opportunity for all. It's genuinely re-envisioning the phrase "we the people" while highlighting diversity, leadership, and passion. It's also to note that DreamCorps upholds three core values in everything that they do: solution, servant leadership, and soul, and these are the values at the base of their organization's goals and actions. Our client representative is Maya. Maya serves as Deputy Director of Communications for DreamCorps, and on a weekly basis, we met with Maya, and also in those meetings was Daniela, and Daniela served as a campaign consultant for DreamCorps' Green for All account. Every week, we created agendas and we went over the needs for DreamCorps, which we will discuss later. And I'll now have Kayla take the floor from here.
All right. So we first met with our client at the very beginning in our client consultation on September 8th. In our meeting, we kind of first got to know each other a little bit, and then we started talking about our goals. We knew right away that we were going to work on Twitter content creation, mainly focusing on following and engagement. We also decided that instead of jumping between their multiple platforms, we were just going to work on their Green for All account. And then from there, we were able to create a plan to accomplish our goals. And then before we started working on our campaign, we decided to do a SWOT analysis, kind of seeing the environment that we were working with. So starting with our internal strengths, we saw that DreamCorps is a nationally known organization. They had a built up following on multiple platforms and had a clear mission statement that we could work with. For internal weaknesses, we saw that they had many inactive followers and were also very low on staffing. Some external opportunities we saw potential in included many opportunities to partner with influencers and activists who share DreamCorps' values. And then lastly, we saw some external threats that included negative press or negative reactions to content and false information that regularly circles the internet. Okay, and then moving on to our key publics. While social media isn't a key public, many of the publics we are aiming for did use social media, so that's how we were able to communicate with them. With Twitter being our main form, we mostly targeted young people with a majority supporting the organization's ideas, older generations who make up about 17% of Twitter's platform, minority groups who post about social injustices and at much higher rates than other groups, and individuals who are seeking information about government and politics, which about 1/3 of Americans actually follow a politician or party on social media, which is one of the highest rates in the world. Also, about 18% of US adults get their political and election information from social media. And now we'll move on to Caitlin with our goals.
All right, so the following 4 goals shaped our entire client campaign with DreamCorps. Campaign goal number 1 was to produce post-event social media, specifically Twitter content for Black Future Weekend to increase brand awareness. Our main tactics were to create call to action content, to propose and or implement a live tweet event, and to utilize Twitter handles to tag Black Future Weekend speakers. We understood that post-event content was a key way to build loyalty and to extend to a further audience. Next, campaign goal number 2 was to create social media content aimed at increasing the Green for All Twitter following. And our main tactics were to provide a consistent output of Twitter content relevant to Green for All topics, and also to create call to action content and improve the Twitter bio. Our team hoped that the increased engagements would lead to a higher chance of people seeing these posts and hopefully prompting them to then follow the account. And overall, we wanted to stop the consistent loss of followers that the account was experiencing. Campaign goal number 3 was to create conversational and personable content that proved to increase engagement. Our main tactics were to interact with and respond to relevant tweets, highlight DreamCorps employees, implement humorous, lighthearted content to then create personal connections, and also to use polls, hashtags, and threads. Overall, we wanted to better connect with supporters and keep them involved in the organization's missions. And our last campaign goal number 4 was to create a social media Twitter guidebook for any future social media positions. And our main tactics for this goal were to create a guidebook for the client to use in-house after we completed our campaign to provide strategies, hashtags, and content that was successful, and also to include screenshots of successful content from our campaign. This guidebook hoped to make the transition and onboarding of any social media manager go smoothly. So these 4 goals shaped our entire client campaign with DreamCorps. Not only did these 4 goals shape our entire client campaign, but they shaped our semester timeline. We created this Gantt chart to keep a general overview of our semester plans. Our calendar was broken up into 4 general phases that ultimately did overlap over the semester. Phase 1 focused on the written proposal, Phase 2 on Black Future Weekend, Phase 3 on our work with the Green for All account, and Phase 4 finished off our semester from the drop dead date to now. A variety of resources were used as we worked towards achieving our campaign goals. Some of those include Canva, Zoom, Google Suite, and FunctionFox. And other resources were also client provided like LastPass, TweetDeck, Slack, and Twitter Access. Google Suite became a valuable resource for our team as it did allow us to collaborate on documents in real time. Our team used Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. To create graphics for tweets while keeping the organization's fonts and color scheme, we used Canva. And our weekly client and team meetings were held over Zoom. And FunctionFox also allowed us to track those hours. DreamCorps provided us with LastPass, which ultimately gave us access to their TweetDeck and Twitter accounts without having to directly share those passwords with us. And this allowed us to schedule tweets through TweetDeck and also track analytics, retweet, or comment directly through their Twitter. Our client reps also set us up on the DreamCorps Slack channel, where we had constant open communication with Maya, Daniela, and many other DreamCorps team members. Since we primarily worked on Twitter content, most of our copy was short and limited by 280 characters. Every week, we provided a new batch of 12 to 15 tweets by adding our copy to the PRAD social media sheet, which you'll see on the screen. And from there, we would wait for approval and comments or suggestions by Daniela and Maya. So I'll now pass it on to Mercedes, who will begin discussing our campaign outcomes.
So in order for our team to evaluate our success, we'll be looking at 3 of our 4 goals. And we'll be taking a look at the planning, the implementation, and the impact of each goal and why we found them to be successful. So for our first campaign goal, our goal was to produce post-event social media content for Black Future Weekend to increase brand awareness. So just to give some background on what Black Future Weekend was, it was a virtual event held in Atlanta for the DreamCorps Text program. So this required us working on a different separate Twitter account. So to plan this first campaign goal, we plan to create call to action content, capture notable speakers, highlight resonating quotes and live tweets during the event. We knew that this being a virtual event, that there would be some limitations on us to get some of that digital content. So what we plan to do is to receive photos or videos from an actual attendee who was there shooting content that day. To implement that plan, we realized we didn't have access in Twitter to time to do those live tweets we had planned to do, but we did draft a few for the client to use, and they used them during the event. We also successfully used those photos that the team provided for post-event tweets, and we also used call to action tweets and other tactics to increase awareness. And those are some examples on that slide there that you can see. For the impact of this goal, we believe that although there was a few challenges, the team managed to increase brand awareness. And between September 23rd and October 15th, there was a total of 63 mentions of the DreamCorps tech, when previously between August 31st through September 14th, there was only one mention. For our second campaign goal, this was to create social media content aimed at increasing the Green for All Twitter following. So at this point, we shifted focus to a different Twitter account. And to plan this campaign goal, our goal was to interact with users, create call to action tweets, update the Green for All bio, and provide consistent but relevant content. So when it came to implementing this goal, we began to first review the Twitter profile and quickly fixed an invalid link. We believe that this could help direct people learn more and encourage a following. We also suggested to update the Twitter location to identify their headquarters in Oakland, California. And we thought by doing so, this may encourage passionate followers to learn more about the Green for All program, since Oakland is known for its historical movements. However, the organization declined as they wanted to remain seen as a national organization, and we completely understood that. To guarantee we provided relevant content, our team met every week to discuss topics to focus on. And so, like Caitlin mentioned, we used that spreadsheet to share the draft of those tweets. And we created a workflow to submit those posts every Sunday night, receive approval to schedule by Monday or Tuesday, and successfully, we followed that workflow between October 8th through November 15th. On several occasions, the organization also requested content within 24 hours. And of course, being in the political spectrum, our team understood how important that the Green for All needs to have and keep an online presence. And we provided content usually within 12 hours or less. We overall think that we had a positive impact with this goal during the reporting period between October and November, since we gained a total of 60 followers. With the consistent output of relevant newsworthy tweets from our team, we kept positive growth, and this is how we determined we had a successful impact here on this goal. For our third campaign goal, this was to create conversational and personable content that proves to increase engagement. So our plan here was to create conversational and personable content by being more humorous and lighthearted in our tweets. We also plan to highlight DreamCorps employees and interact or reply to relevant tweets and continue using those Twitter tools. To implement our plans to be more conversational and personable, we constantly use those tools on Twitter by using trendy hashtags, emojis, polls, threads, GIFs, and even graphics that we created on Canvas to create lighthearted tweets and hopefully highlight those benefits of environmental reform and encourage followers to gain interest. There you can see an example of some of those hashtags that we try to use, emojis, and some of the graphics we created in Canva. We realized that we had to limit this tactic, as the content that was most often approved by the DreamCorps organization tended to be more factual and news-based that included articles from bipartisan outlets. So moving forward, we began conducting more research to create factual-based content. As we created more factual-based content, we realized that there is no room to plan to highlight those employees like we had originally planned, or engage with users as well. When it came to engaging with users, we often found responses or mentions that were either negative or controversial. So we decided it was best to stay away from this tactic. We found most of our time consumed with research, creating content, and scheduling approved tweets. Overall, our team had a positive impact during the 2 months of reporting for October and November. There was a growth in tweet impressions for November at 401,000 impressions compared to 49,000 impressions in October. We believe the team conducted this goal to the best of our ability and proved we created content that increased engagement. Now I'll go ahead and let Jordan talk about our final campaign goal and wrap this up.
Thank you, Mercedes. So our final goal was to create a social media Twitter guidebook that could be used in-house by the DreamCorps team. So after a few weeks of working with Maya, she informed us that they were going to be hiring a social media manager to assist in running the accounts, and that this guidebook would serve as a really great resource for that position. The social media guidebook is a 16-page working document that's meant to be updated consistently, that goes over social media manager roles, their expectations, concepts for engagements, and tasks to begin based on our personal successes in those previous goals, and then also evidence-based proof and our own oversights and challenges. The book included relevant hashtags, emojis, tweet concepts, and key dates like national holidays for content creation and tips for accessibility. When presented to our client, they were thrilled with the detail and effort we put into making it, and this working document now lives in the hands of the DreamCorps team to continue to develop and update. So these future recommendations go out to Maya, Daniela, and the new social media managers. In the social media guidebook, we created a section called Task to Start, and these tasks are essential to the success for DreamCorps communication. Included in this is creating a mainstream Twitter flow, creating social media Twitter list, and creating a current events tracker, as it's really important to be on top of all the events happening in this political spectrum. Outside of the guidebook, we recommend that the organization continues to grow its communication department to reach new capacities. We are confident that more employees going into the communication effort will lead to growth and success. We would also love to see some of the tactics that we didn't use included in the future semester, as time was also a little bit of a constraint. Our last recommendation is to have the PRAD team continue to assist in the growth of the communications field for the spring 2022 semester. This group here really enjoyed the experience, and we're confident that the next group will as well. And that concludes our presentation. We would like to give one final thanks to DreamCorps for providing us the opportunity to learn and grow with you. Looking back from when we just started to now, we can see a drastic improvement in our copy skills, research skills, and in all our personal and professional development. This was an extremely memorable opportunity, and we will never forget all the Slack messages or comments of the "can you edit this" to our tweet options, and the Slack messages also for quick content creation, because that just made us better all around. So we really appreciate it, and thank you.